Hello everyone, I am Tacet, and as all of you probably know by now, the new Mythic troop is now in the game of death. You can get him from Glory Keys, or Gem Chests, and VIP Chests. He's not in Glory Chests. And let's get a good look at him. We just ended up hunting him down a couple hours ago. And let's just go straight into the Apocalypse. Apocalypse now can make a full team, which we're going to be using in a moment here. But here is the new death. It places death mark on all enemies, does a little bit of split damage, and does a little bit of split damage to them. As far as its ability goes, it doesn't really scale much on magic. Most of the other mythics that have been introduced in the game scale on something like really big. Like Famine, he scales based on magic by a lot. Plague, any magic that he gets increases the effectiveness of his ability by a lot. And with War, he's like doing burn, and he scales based on his attack. So they all scale on something, but Death does not have anything that he really scales on. But this means he is actually, of all of the mythics currently in the game, Death would be the best one for a newer player, mainly because he isn't dependent on anything. Either Death or Famine are the best of the two. Because for War, you need your attack to be high. For Plague, you need your magic to be high. And Famine, you just need high magic on the enemy team. And with Death, you don't need anything. You just need them not to have immunity to Death Mark. So that makes it really good early on, but also makes him pretty good as a early, if you happen to get him earlier compared to most mythics, is that he has the necromancy trait. And since he uses blue as well, you can just put him with a Valkyrie. The first trait won't cost any arcanes. I'm pretty sure it costs like a lot of runics, but it doesn't cost arcane, so it'll still be fairly obtainable, probably around the level 100-ish area if you're around that area, since runics are a little bit easier, or a lot easier to get than arcanes. But you can easily get his first trait of necromancy, and that will make sure you get 100% bonus souls if you use it with something like a Valkyrie, and that Valkyrie will just feed it mana and get it off. For any of you that don't know, Death Mark is a 10% chance to kill a enemy every single turn, and has a 10% cumulative chance to cleanse. So the first turn, it's a 10% chance it'll cleanse, and 20, then 30, then 40, and 50. But the chance that it'll kill always stays at 10%. So even before they cleanse it off, or before they have a chance to cleanse it off, there's a 10% chance the second that you cast it, the enemies will die, so without even a chance to cleanse it. So very powerful against anything that doesn't have impervious or wardening, which protects against Death Mark. And of course, he has double skull damage whenever you do skull damage to doomed enemies, or I mean to Death Marked enemies, which he places Death Mark on everyone. Plus, he steals, for his legendary trait, he steals 2 life from the first enemy at the start of each turn. Steal as in the 2 true damage to the first troop, and he gains 2 life. So he does the damage and then gets it right to himself. So he can actually start getting fairly tanky too over several turns. He's just getting 2 HP every single turn once you get this last trait. Do keep in mind, it does cost 21 arcane trait stones to be able to get him up. We did it in the previous video. It costs 9 red, what was it again? It was blue, purple, and red, purple were his 2 colors. And it takes 9 of each of them for the first trait, and 12 of each of them for the second trait, for a total of 21 trait stones. I didn't mess it up this time. But let's go into some teams with it. Of course, one thing I have to try now that there is all 4, go straight to PvP. Let's try a team with all 4 of the Apocalypse troop against a Queen Mab, which is the worst idea ever, because Queen Mab's probably the hardest hard counter there is to Apocalypse troop, because they all have high mana cost, 22, 24, 24, and 20. So we'll need to make sure we get our Famine up to make sure we don't actually die. And for any of you wondering what the bonus is, 4 Daemons, of course, is 2 attack and 1 magic. All of them are Daemon. And for Apocalypse, King of End Times, you get 3 attack and 1 magic. So that's a total of 5 attack and 2 magic bonus for all of them, which will be helping Plague out the most. The other ones don't really need magic that much. It'll help War out quite a bit too, since that's an additional 5 damage between the, or a 7 damage between the 5 attack and 2 magic. So let's get into this, see how it goes. This team is by no means viable, but since we can do it, we might as well do it. I would never advise using 4 mythics. Like, 2 different ones is basically the max you'd ever use on a team. One thing to note is that Plague plus, not Plague, Famine plus Death is actually a really good combo for 2 reasons. One, they cover every single color with only 2 troops, and they both do something to the first troop. Death will steal 2 life from the first troop, and Famine will reduce 3 to a random skill to the first troop, so they're both doing something. Also, keep in mind all the skills that do something on the very first turn. They trigger even on the first turn. Like, you see like this, it says each turn. It'll do it each turn, but even the first turn, it included it. Like you can see, we already hit the Templar with everything before the match even started. So right at the beginning.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
Luckily, any mana we take will always be filled. The only problem is we have to worry about other famines and queen mabs and stuff like that because we'll be taking a lot of damage from them.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
And there we go. We got Aspect of Plague up. The Death has like no mana because in this lineup he's blocked by so much. Let's see if we can get a red surge here. No good spot to take it though. Take it there. Okay, we got it. Probably going to use this on the Rawani just to make sure it doesn't do anything. I might ignore these skulls. Oh no, let's see. He's not doing that much damage. We might as well just ignore it. Let's use this actually on the Valkyrie. Let's see. We're going to be doing, let's see, 16 plus 42. That's going to be 58 plus an additional 3, so 61. Let's actually kill Queen Mab. There we go. And now we can reduce them all with Plague. We even got a kill because of the HP. That works now in 2.01. I don't believe that works on consoles yet, though. Unless you guys never had the glitch to begin with.
Mana surge.
Because I know with stat reduction, there used to be some glitches with it. It's all been fixed now on PC and mobile. Okay, so let's take these skulls. We won't get 2 times damage for... Oh, yes, we will, because they're diseased. So we'll get that. That should kill. And that's pretty much the match. That's what a 4 times Apocalypse team looks like. Of course, realistically, barely anyone would even have teams like this. Only like the top 5%-ish of the people who have like so many resources. Because it is really hard to get all 4 mythics fully traded. Like, excessively hard. But I will be showing some builds for Death as soon as we finish this, which looks like right now that you can do if you only have 1 Death. And for the most part, you don't even need traits on Death. Maybe his very first one so you can get the bonus souls, but he felt like not doing them. He wouldn't be horrible without them. Compared to the other mythics, he is very luck-based though. Also, look at that. Wow. Behemoth, Famine, Plague. That is 3 impervious. For the sake of this video, I think I'm just going to skip it, even though that's a really good battle. I don't know. Let's see. What is our first team that I was going to use? I don't know. I guess we can still show it. See how it does against something that's actually countering it. I don't know why. Every single one of these battles, we're going up against something that actually counters it. But here is the first team I'm going to be doing. Gorgotha, Valkyrie, Famine, and Death. I really like the Famine plus Death combo. It works very well. So let's just start off trying to get Gorgotha up. Gonna need that mana. Want to make sure we block the Plague as well the best that we can.
Mana surge.
Because we are using a lot of mana on this thing.
Surge.
Luckily, the only color he really takes is green because he's blocked on brown because of Behemoth.
Mana surge.
For the most part, whenever you are using Death, you'll also want to, Death, you'd want to use a Valkyrie with it. As we saw from data the other day, it's definitely very popular using Valkyries. But since he has the 50% Necromancy trait, that just gives so much extra souls with a Valkyrie. You're pretty much whatever level your Valkyrie is, as long as you have both of those necromancy traits, you'll be getting max souls every single battle.
Mana surge.
Let's use our Gorgotha. Hopefully it won't miss. We need to make sure we don't give him
Mana
greens.
surge. Mana surge. Mana
Okay, there we go.
surge.
And we can finally cast Death. Unfortunately, he has 3 Imperviouses, so this isn't really going to do that much, as you're about to see in a moment. Just checking the board. So let's use this. And all it's going to do is Death Mark the one that doesn't have Impervious, which is, of course, Famine. And it still does that little bit of split damage. It is a bit overwhelming for a Mythic, I do have to say, but they do normally start them a little bit lower and then buff them. That has kind of been the trends with all of the Mythics. I'm pretty sure they started it so low because Death Mark is so powerful right now. They didn't want it to be too out of hand, which makes sense. Let's see. I'll need to kill out all of these behemoths, I guess. Actually, let me kill out Plague. I think this will be enough damage. We're pretty close to it. Yeah, it is.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
Okay, so let's use red right here. Gonna get Death back up, even though that's not gonna do too much to this team. But we need to make sure we get them killed, of course. That is the objective of this game. And I just gave him free greens, which is somewhat unfortunate, but we killed the Plague, so it won't reduce our stats. And let's explode it all. And Behemoth is back up. We'll let that cast. What we really need to try getting up here is our Plague. I mean, our... Why do I keep calling these things wrong things? To get our Famine back up, because currently on this team, when they have that many Imperviouses, Plague is basically our whole damage source on this team. So let's take these skulls. Let's just get them out of the way. You also see where, even though he has Impervious, we do reduce those stats regardless of it. It's not like a status effect or anything. We still get out the debuffs from both Famine and our Death. So let's just cast Death real quick. Get another Death Mark on him. Hopefully that kills him. We haven't been lucky enough to get it yet.
Surge. Mana surge.
Wait till he gets a little bit more mana, then we can just kill him off.
Mana surge.
Let's refresh that Death Mark on him just to make sure he stays within the range of kill. Let's see, put it back on. Normally we'd be doing the whole team, but gosh, all of the counter right there, a triple Impervious. That is very annoying against something like Death, or most of the Apocalypse troops too would be disabled from that many Imperviouses.
Mana surge.
Let's see. Take those yellows, take that skull, and that should be pretty close to the match then. Come on, Death Mark, kill him. Kill him already. We haven't gotten a single Death Mark kill yet. Of course, we haven't really had the opportunity to Death Mark that much, but still. Like, we could actually kill with Death right here if we get a red surge.
Mana
Okay, we do.
surge.
Oh, never mind. Death Mark got it. Death Mark got it for us. Okay, so let's try this again. And this next one is actually my favorite team that I've used with Deaths so far. Unfortunately, it does require 2 Deaths. So let's switch over to it. Death number 2 with 2 Deaths. Emperor Corvash, Valkyrie, and 2 Deaths. One good thing about this team, specifically this week, is it is a Leonis Empire event as well as Death just entering the game. So if you had the resources, you could actually target out both Emperor Corvash and the double Death to try to get them to make this team. But it might be a little bit harder when not in this week, especially to get double of a Mythic. Takes a lot of resources. I think it took us like 7,000, 8,000 glory keys to get these 2 Deaths. And that was during an event too. So if you did it not during an event, it would take even longer since those Mythics could have been any Mythic, not just Death. So right here, we're going to be getting some stuns off. That would be helping us a lot to make sure none of their traits do anything. And luckily hit Gloomleaf as well, which is, if we get up to it, it won't be doing Thorns, and it won't be doing Huge if we accidentally give it an extra turn off that. So I'm trying to find a blue. I really don't want to have to use it on yellow, but it looks like we'll have to. That's our main Valkyrie Manor. Actually, I think I might have set red to our main Valkyrie. Yeah, I actually set red to it because I did that because our red overflow will go into the deaths instead of doing it with a yellow. Okay, so right here, gonna take the brown. Don't need it, but got some blues off it as well. Just wanted to make sure he didn't get those skulls. We'll take those skulls instead. Or just waste his turn. Yellow surge maybe. Nope, and we just gave him some blues. Luckily, he is stunned, so he didn't gain life right there. Or extra life. HP, I mean. Okay, you can see that our deaths have been reducing him down. So he's actually within kill range of our cast now, so we'll cast it. That's why I was holding it. And as you can see, the next one will already die in one more turn, or 2 more turns. We'll just tick down 4 every single turn. It loses 4 HP, we gain 4 HP. So let's take these reds and try doing a really good Valkyrie cast next turn.
Mana surge.
Right here on these browns. With this team, you do want to try targeting green if you can, because this team doesn't use green.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
Actually, something else that'd be pretty good if you wanted to add in this team instead would probably be a plague or something like that, since it would use the green, plus you'd get all of the reduction for the extra turns. So he is stunned, so it doesn't matter if we do skull damage to it. So let's do it right there. Keep in mind that the thorns on Gloomleaf, it deals damage regardless of your stone skin. So if we did like our 27 damage to it, it would return the 50 of 13 damage. And that 13 damage wouldn't be reduced by stone skin, even though it's kind of skull related. But it's kind of like the reflection, so it doesn't reduce it. Okay, we could take those skulls. I don't really need to. Let's use death. Hope for some death marks. Oh, there we go. First turn death mark. Love it. Now we can just stun it, plus drain its mana. And now it dies in 2 turns regardless of what we do. Actually, I don't even need to do anything. It'll just die on its own. Right here. Also, there's no glitch when you kill it with that. The game just ends. So, really good that there's no glitch. Because I know with Famine, there was a glitch for a little while with it. But Death doesn't have it now that they have completely fixed it. So, let's do one more team. Actually, forget what the last team is. Against Esley, we got a defend win. Oh, I haven't really tested this defend out yet. For my defend, I'm running Gorgoltha, Death, Famine, Death. So far, it's 1-0. That's all the data I have from it. I have no clue how good it is. It seems like it would be decent. The main premise is Gorgoltha up front to protect from mauls and other skull spam. Maybe you'll get a lucky demonic pack. The deaths tick down 4 HP every single turn, 2 each, plus they'll be gaining that HP. It'll help against true damage teams, make sure they don't die. Of course, they have Death Mark. If you get their ability up, Gorgoltha will fill them pretty well, and that's very risky if they don't have a bunch of Impervious or Cleanse. And of course, Famine will be draining their mana, has a little bit of Jinx to make sure they don't get as much mana, so you'll be able to get there quicker. And of course, it also reduces the something on the first troop, just like Death. Except it's completely random what it reduces, and it doesn't gain the stat that it reduces. But yeah, it's a little bit all around. How is it doing on defend? It also gains 3 attack for all troops, so that'll help too, especially on Death. If Gorgoltha happens to die, that's going to be a lot of damage. How does it work on defend? I don't know. All the data I have is 1-0. It seems like it would be decent. And last up, I figured we'd throw in the Creeping Death. Creeping Death is the best thing other than Death for doing Death Mark. Really easy to do. I did this in the other videos. Sorcerer plus Creeping Death is very, very powerful right now. Especially on the PC mobile version, since Death Mark has been buffed recently. But yeah, you get the extra magic link. You get the Dark Channel, which is the main thing you want from this. And it places Death Mark to the weakest and the strongest. If you kill someone, you won't place it on the weakest. You'll only place 1 Death Mark. But it'll help to refresh the Death's Death Marks. And of course, we have the very common Green Seer plus Giant Spider combo, which can loop between each other to get as much mana as you want. So let's get into it then. As our last team, against something very meta, the Great Maul, Inferno King, Shegra, Mercy. That is a very common late game deck these days. I prefer it in Great Maul, Mercy, Inferno King, Sugar order though, because once you lose that Inferno King, you don't have your Mercy's making mana for nothing, so it's not really doing anything that way. This is more of an offensive build that you'd make for it. Like if you were invading, this would be the quicker build, but for defending, it'd be better in Great Maul, Mercy, Inferno King, Sugar order if you happen to have that kind of team. So let's get into this, see how this last build does. I completely forget already why I set the banner to. I believe it is double green, because the reason I didn't set +1 for our green seer is because our giant spider is already giving +1 purple, so we don't need to worry about it. The spider will do it for us, so we didn't have to waste our banner on it. So let's double check. Are we using +2 green?
Mana surge.
No, we are not. Oh, I must be doing oh, never mind. I'm doing +2 blue. The reason being that Def also uses blue. So if we get extra mana on our giant spider, it'll sink into our Def as well. Make sure to do that when you build teams as well. Like whatever you have like the most mana for, you should make sure whatever you're taking it on, you have something that will sink into. Most teams work a lot better if you do something like that. Yep, we got a skull out of nowhere. Mercy's gonna cast. Hopefully it misses. Looks like it is. Yes, it does. And let's see. Can we get a green seer surge? And yes, we can. Or a yellow one. We got a sky yellow anyway, so it didn't even matter.
Mana surge.
We'll take out these. Oh, I prefer not to do yellow, but we don't really need yellow. We need it for green seer, but we'll just loop it right back. There's one problem though on this board. Where's all the purple? There's no purple. I guess Mercy just disabled them all from us. Was expecting some more to come down from all the cascades though. So we'll just take the skulls for now. We already got our entangled on the Great Maul, so it's not going to be able to do anything.
Mana surge.
That even stops its attack gains. So I'm trying to find a cast for this. There is absolutely nowhere. So we'll just take some blues. That'll go straight to our defs. Actually some reds and some blues.
Surge.
And there we go. Really nice cast. And he didn't even interrupt it. So we'll take that. Green seer is in the way, but we should be able to start looping now that we have the board cleared enough. So let's take out the brown we don't use. Will that be enough mana? Yes, it will.
From the light of the earth.
Mana surge. Mana surge.
And now we can use it on red. And just keep looping back and forth until we have everything full. Use on blue.
From the light of the earth.
Mana surge.
And let's just clear the board. Use it on green.
Mana surge.
Get everything up. Get a bunch of skulls. Everywhere skulls.
Mana surge.
And instead of something like your hero, you could always use some kind of skull damage up front as well in this team if you didn't want to go with something like this. So let's start off with using our Def. That'll place Def Mark on everything. It'll waste its turn taking some skulls, and it'll do the same thing again. It's also entangled, so it can't even do anything off those skulls. We'll use this. This will refresh 2 of the Def Marks on the weakest and strongest on this team. And it looks like the one that it didn't hit cleansed, which is somewhat unfortunate. That's why it's good to refresh it with something like Creeping Def or another Def cast, because they do come off naturally. 10% chance per turn. Cumulative, so it's 20% the second turn, 30% the third, and it just keeps going up. So you want to keep refreshing it if you can. Much as I don't want to, I think I might need to take this purple right here. Looks like it. Yep, there goes the Def Mark. Really nice.
Mana surge.
And we could use it now. We won't get much mana out of it, but we can start looping. And let's see. There is no color we can do this on. Never mind. Yellow.
From the light of the earth.
Mana surge.
Then use it on green just to get it out of the way. And we should have pretty much everything back up again.
Mana surge. Mana surge. Mana surge. Mana surge.
And that is pretty much the match. Just take that real quick. I'll let it do whatever next turn. We'll use Creeping Death, and then we'll finish it off with Death. And that is Death. As far as Mythics go, it is very, very, very luck-based compared to the other ones. But it is good with a Valkyrie, so anything that's good with a Valkyrie is good in my book. So those are some teams that you can use with the new Death that comes out. Let me know what you think of them. If you have any of your own, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye. Have a good day. And okay, we got another lose. So it did kill 2 though. So it's 1-1. I'll see how it goes in the future. I don't know how it'll be. It seems like an okay defense. Don't go out of your way to build it though, obviously. But I should be doing another video soon on defense. Anyways, I'm signing out. See you guys.